What if the one place a child is supposed to feel safest becomes the most dangerous? In the quiet suburbs of Lawrenceville, Georgia, a horrifying discovery in November 2013 shattered the community's sense of security. 10-year-old Emani Moss was found dead, her emaciated body burned and discarded in a trash can. This was not the result of a sudden, unthinkable act, but the culmination of years of abuse and neglect, a tragic narrative hidden behind closed doors. Emani's father, Emani Moss, and her stepmother, Tiffany Moss, were at the center of this harrowing case. While the full extent of their involvement would unfold in the ensuing investigation, initial reports painted a grim picture of a child failed by those she trusted most. This isn't merely a story about a crime. It's an indictment of a system that overlooked the signs, allowing a young girl's suffering to persist unnoticed. As we delve into the life and death of Emani Moss, we confront unsettling questions about familial betrayal and systemic failure. How did a child, known to welfare services and the community, endure such profound neglect? What warning signs were missed, and what can be done to prevent such tragedies in the future? Welcome to That Police Officer, where we delve into true crime stories from a law enforcement perspective. If you're new here, we analyze cases, discuss investigative procedures, and provide insights into the criminal justice system. Subscribe now to stay informed and join our community. Emani Gabrielle Moss was a vibrant and affectionate 10-year-old girl who possessed a natural zest for life. She had a deep love for ballet and guitar, often immersing herself in these activities with enthusiasm. Her teachers and peers at Bethesda Elementary School in Lawrenceville fondly remember her as a compassionate friend who extended kindness to everyone, even those who were unkind to her. Her fourth-grade teacher, Lisa Neal, described Emani as precious and a blessing to have in my classroom. Emani's face would light up when she spoke about her baby brother, reflecting the immense love she had for her family. Born to a mother battling drug addiction, Emani faced challenges from the very beginning. Her biological mother was largely absent, leading her father, Emani Moss, to take on the primary caregiving role. Emani worked diligently to provide for his daughter, and for a time, it seemed that Emani had a stable foundation despite early adversities. However, this stability began to wane when Emani remarried. His new wife, Tiffany Moss, initially appeared to be a nurturing addition to the family. Yet, behind the closed doors of their home, a different and troubling reality was unfolding. The Moss family resided in Gwinnett County, Georgia, a suburban area northeast of Atlanta. Known for its diversity, Gwinnett County is the second most populous county in the state, with a population of 957,062 as of 2020. Despite its bustling communities and outward appearance of normalcy, the county, like many others, harbored secrets of domestic turmoil hidden behind suburban facades. To outsiders, the Moss family seemed typical. Neighbors and acquaintances saw Emani as a hard-working father and Tiffany as a stay-at-home mother caring for Emani and her two younger siblings. However, within the walls of their apartment, Emani was enduring severe neglect and abuse that would ultimately lead to her tragic demise. The signs of trouble began to surface early. Teachers at Bethesda Elementary noticed alarming changes in Emani's appearance and behavior. She appeared malnourished, often hungry, and displayed a fearful demeanor. In 2010, concerns escalated when reports emerged that Tiffany had beaten Emani with a belt, leaving visible injuries. This incident led to Tiffany pleading guilty to child cruelty charges, resulting in probation. Despite these red flags, Emani remained in the household. Georgia's Division of Family and Children's Services, DFCS, had multiple interactions with the Moss family. Their involvement began as early as 2003, when Emani was just 1 year old, following reports of neglect and inadequate care. Subsequent investigations in 2005 and 2008 addressed concerns of emotional neglect and possible sexual abuse. However, each case was deemed unsubstantiated, and no significant actions were taken to remove Emani from her home. These missed opportunities for intervention highlight a critical failure in the system designed to protect vulnerable children. Despite clear indicators of abuse and neglect, Emani was continually returned to an environment that proved fatal. Her story underscores the devastating consequences that can arise when warning signs are overlooked, and the voices of the most vulnerable go unheard. In the months leading up to October 2013, 10-year-old Emani Moss endured unimaginable suffering within the confines of her family's apartment. Subjected to prolonged starvation by her stepmother, Tiffany Moss, Emani was confined to her bedroom, deprived of food, and isolated from the outside world. Neighbors, unaware of her presence, only observed Tiffany's biological children, oblivious to the silent torment occurring just beyond their walls. As the weeks progressed, Emani's condition deteriorated drastically. She became too weak to perform basic functions, unable to leave her bed, and lost control over her bodily functions. While Emani wasted away in solitude, Tiffany continued to care for and feed her own children, even sending images of prepared meals to her husband, Emani Moss. In a particularly cruel act, she baked cookies, forcing Emani to endure the aroma of food she was denied. Medical examiner Dr. Staffenberg later testified that the process of starvation is excruciatingly painful, beginning with intense hunger pangs, followed by extreme fatigue, and culminating in the body's gradual shutdown. On the evening of October 24, 2013, Emani suffered a seizure. Emani returned home to find her unresponsive in the bathtub, her eyes rolling back. Despite her critical state, she was moved to her bed without medical intervention. Over the next few days, Emani attempted to feed her, but Emani was too weak to eat. She succumbed to starvation on October 28, 2013, weighing a mere 32 pounds, the average weight of a 3-year-old child. In the aftermath, rather than seeking help or reporting Emani's death, Tiffany and Emani conspired to conceal the crime. Moss purchased new bedding to replace those soiled during Emani's decline. Emani acquired a galvanized trash can, trash bags, charcoal, and lighter fluid from Walmart. On Halloween night, they placed Emani's body into the trash can, using duct tape to compress her rigid frame due to rigor mortis. They transported the can to a secluded area, added charcoal, doused Emani's body with lighter fluid, and set it ablaze. After approximately 5 minutes, realizing the body would not reduce to ash, they extinguished the fire and returned home with the remains. The following day, Emani confided in a friend about the events, encouraged to contact authorities. In November 2, 2013, at approximately 3:43 a.m., Emani Moss dialed 911 from his apartment in Lawrenceville. Sounding distressed, he informed the dispatcher that he was suicidal and that his 10-year-old daughter, Emani Moss, had ingested a chemical substance and was deceased. Responding officers from the Gwinnett County Police Department arrived promptly at the scene. Emani directed them to a trash can located in a recreation area of the apartment complex. Inside, they discovered a small, badly burned body, later identified as Emani. The immediate circumstances raised suspicions among the authorities. Emani's account of Emani's death due to chemical ingestion seemed inconsistent with the condition of her remains. Detectives noted that the body appeared emaciated, indicating possible prolonged neglect or abuse. As investigators delved deeper, they uncovered alarming details about the Moss household. The apartment was found in a state of disarray, with unsanitary conditions prevailing. Notably, the refrigerator was devoid of food, raising concerns about the family's living conditions and the care provided to the children. Eman's initial statements to the police were fraught with inconsistencies. He claimed that Emani had been ill and died naturally, but this narrative conflicted with the physical evidence. Under further questioning, Emani admitted that his wife, Emani Moss, had been responsible for disciplining Emani and had restricted her food intake as a form of punishment. The investigation also revealed a troubling history of abuse and prior interventions. In 2010, Tiffany was arrested and charged with first-degree child cruelty after Emani's school reported signs of physical abuse. Despite this, Emani remained in the household, highlighting potential lapses in the child protective system. The tragic death of Emani Moss shed light on systemic failures and prompted a re-evaluation of child protective services in Georgia, aiming to prevent such a heartbreaking incident from recurring. In the wake of Emani Moss's tragic death, the investigation intensified, placing immense pressure on her father. Initially, Emani attempted to mislead authorities by claiming that Emani had ingested chemicals, resulting in her death. However, as inconsistencies in his account emerged and evidence mounted, Emani ultimately broke down and confessed to his involvement in the harrowing events leading to his daughter's demise. Emani admitted that his wife, Tiffany, was the primary abuser, systematically starving Emani over several weeks. He portrayed himself as a passive observer, claiming he was too intimidated by Tiffany to intervene effectively. Emani recounted how Tiffany would inform him of Emani's alleged misbehavior during his long work hours, detailing incidents where Emani was punished for actions such as defecating on walls or mixing feces into her food. These reports from Tiffany painted a picture of escalating disciplinary measures that Emani failed to challenge. Despite recognizing the severity of Emani's suffering, Emani confessed that he felt helpless and did not take decisive action to protect his daughter. He described instances where he attempted to feed Emani protein drinks upon returning home late at night, but these efforts were insufficient to counteract the prolonged deprivation imposed by Tiffany. Emani's inaction and failure to seek external assistance contributed significantly to the tragic outcome. The most disturbing aspect of Emani's confession detailed the couple's attempt to conceal Emani's death. After discovering Emani unresponsive, Emani and Tiffany decided against notifying authorities, fearing the repercussions. Instead, they devised a plan to dispose of her body. Emani's confession illuminated the depth of neglect and abuse Emani endured and highlighted his complicity in the cover-up. His admissions provided crucial insights into the dynamics within the household, the extent of Tiffany's cruelty, and his own failure as a father to protect his child. This revelation not only shocked the community, but also underscored systemic failures that allowed such a tragedy to unfold unchecked. Faced with overwhelming evidence and the prospect of a capital trial, Emani chose to plead guilty in 2015 to charges including felony murder and concealing a death. This plea deal allowed him to avoid the death penalty. Instead, he was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. As part of the agreement, Emani testified against Tiffany during her trial, providing crucial insights into the abuse and neglect that Emani suffered. Tiffany Moss's trial commenced in April 2019. In a rare and perplexing decision, Tiffany elected to represent herself, declining the assistance of court-appointed attorneys. Throughout the proceedings, she remained notably passive. She did not deliver an opening statement, cross-examine witnesses, or present any form of defense. This lack of engagement left the prosecution's compelling and distressing evidence unchallenged. The prosecution presented a harrowing narrative of prolonged abuse, detailing how Tiffany systematically starved Emani over several months, leading to her death. They also illuminated the subsequent attempt to dispose of Emani's body by burning it in a trash can. The evidence included testimonies from family members, educators, and medical professionals, all painting a grim picture of the suffering Emani endured. After deliberating for less than 3 hours, the jury found Tiffany guilty on all counts, including malice murder, felony murder, first-degree cruelty to children, and concealing the death of another. During the sentencing phase, Tiffany continued her silent approach, offering no mitigating evidence or statements in her defense. The jury ultimately recommended the death penalty, a sentence that the presiding judge formalized on May 1, 2019. Tiffany Moss's death sentence marked a significant moment in Georgia's legal history. She became the first woman in the state to be sentenced to death in over 5 years, and is currently the only female inmate on Georgia's death row. Her case stands as one of the rare instances where a woman has received the death penalty in Georgia, highlighting the severity and brutality of her crimes. This case not only brought to light the tragic failures within the Moss family, but also underscored systemic issues within child protective services, prompting discussions and calls for reforms to better safeguard vulnerable children in the future. Emani's case was marred by multiple missed opportunities for intervention by the Georgia Division of Family and Children's Services, DFCS. Records reveal that DFCS had at least 6 prior interactions or complaints involving Emani dating back to 2003, with the most recent occurring just 2 months before her death. Despite these red flags, DFCS failed to take decisive action to protect her. In one glaring instance, a report in 2012 indicated that Emani had been beaten with a belt. DFCS dismissed this report without sending caseworkers to interview Emani, examine her injuries, or question her parents. The agency's failure to conduct a thorough investigation, despite Emani's known history of abuse, underscores critical lapses in their protective mandate. Site Turn Zero Search for Emani's death ignited widespread public outrage and intensified scrutiny of Georgia's child welfare system. The community demanded accountability and systemic changes to prevent similar tragedies. In response, Georgia lawmakers faced mounting pressure to strengthen child welfare laws and improve DFCS operations. This led to the commissioning of the Child Welfare Reform Council by Governor Nathan Deal, which released recommendations in January 2015 aimed at overhauling the state's child welfare practices. Following Emani's death, DFCS implemented several reforms, including conducting deeper investigations into abuse allegations, modifying procedures for assembling maltreatment reports, hiring new case managers and supervisors to reduce caseloads, and ensuring that no case is assigned a lower priority status until a caseworker meets the allegedly abused child. Despite these efforts, challenges persist. Between January 2013 and August 2018, more than 800 DFCS employees assigned to Child Protective Services were disciplined for policy violations, indicating ongoing issues within the agency. In 2018, Emani's grandmother filed a lawsuit against DFCS, arguing that caseworkers were aware of the deteriorating conditions and abuse in the Moss household and failed to act. The lawsuit seeks accountability for the agency's negligence and aims to prevent future failures in child protection. Supporting child welfare organizations is crucial. By contributing our time, resources, or skills, we can aid those dedicated to protecting children and preventing abuse. If you suspect a child is being abused or neglected, it's imperative to contact local child protective services. In the United States, you can also call the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-422-4453, available 24/7. Engaging with legislative efforts aimed at enhancing child welfare laws is also vital. Staying informed about policy changes and supporting initiatives that prioritize children's safety and well-being can lead to systemic improvements. By speaking up and taking action, we can be the voice for children like Emani, who never had one. Together, let's work towards a future where every child is safe, valued, and protected.